Hey guys, Primal Chaos here. Now, I normally don't do this. As you can see, I'm typically more of a music reactor, but there's something so nostalgic about this movie coming out for me personally that I just couldn't go past checking this out. Like, I've looked at the trailers and stuff, but this video popped up that's a little bit more of a behind-the-scenes thing, featurette about training, I'd imagine, things like that. Now, to put you sort of in the zone of what I'm getting at, when I grew up, the movie Top Gun came out and it was a game changer for everybody. We'd never seen anything sort of that realistic and that intense and things like that. And say what you will about the plot and things like that, but being able to be put in the cockpit and watching state-of-the-art fighter planes having what seemed like realistic dogfights and stuff, and none of this Star Wars kind of there's some real stuff going on, and they did that by working closely with the Navy and getting footage and all that sort of stuff, which was brilliant, using models and stuff as well. But as soon as I saw the first trailer or the first indication that a new Top Gun was coming out, I was really excited about it because I'm super into the original movie. I'm not one of those crazy plane heads, as I'm sure a lot of you watching are. No offense to you guys. I can't name all the fighter bombers and things like that, but there was just something as a young kid that was so inspirational about watching these warriors go into battle in these fighting machines, especially growing up on a steady diet of like Robotech and lacrosse anime sort of stuff in the 80s, where a lot of these fighter jets were kind of aped in the style of robots that they designed for these Japanese cartoons and things like that, Macross Saga, things like that. And so I'm super excited about this, and I wanted to do a reaction to something that wasn't a music video, just to see how it goes. This is exciting to me. Hopefully it's exciting for you, but let's check out what Tom Cruise is up to. This is going to be really cool. Here we go.
We are cleared into the area. Verify cameras are on. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Here comes some G's. There's 5 G's.
6 G's.
7 G's.
First, hang on. Look at the look of intensity in their faces, man. Pulling G's is it's not fun. I mean, it probably is to a lot of people, but I love that they've got a specific jet that's designed for filming, a Cinejet or whatever. That's really cool. I feel like this is going to be a lot more footage in this movie that's not just stock footage that they're pulling from places, like the Navy and things like that. I feel like there's going to be a lot of like bespoke custom shots, a lot of interior cockpit shots of actual actors. I've seen some behind the scenes stuff from about a year ago where I saw that they do a bit of green screening, which makes sense. I mean, you're not going to sit there and burn fuel while the actors are doing their dialogue and stuff like that. But if you want intense shots of them taking off a carrier or doing something like that, it's better to do that in real life than to, make the actors pretend they're pulling G's, because it doesn't look real. But let's just look at these guys' faces. I love that they did this boot camp sort of training.
Here comes some G's. There's 5 G's.
6 G's.
7 G's.
All right. That was awesome.
I wasn't ready to make a sequel until we had a special story worthy of a sequel, and until technology evolved so we could delve deeper into the experience of a fighter pilot.
The first movie became something that changed a generation. So this is exciting to come back and get in those jets again.
We worked with the Navy and the Top Gun school to formulate how to shoot it practically. Because if we're going to do it, we're going to fly in the F-18s.
The aviation sequences had to be real. So our actors went through 3 months of grueling training.
The Navy says if you eject, you have to be able to survive in the water. So we had to go through that challenging underwater program.
It's intense. You're flipped inverted, and you're having to try and get out.
From there, Tom designed this all-encompassing aviation training for all the actors.
I started them out in a single-engine airplane to build up
cool.
their spatial awareness inside the aircraft.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Oh, my God.
Next, we took them to the L-39, and they went and flew aerobatics to feel what it's like in a jet.
It's some speed. Wow.
From there, they'd graduate to the F-18 Super Hornet and actually launching off an aircraft carrier. the actors also had to learn how to run the cameras, because when they're up in the jet, they have to direct themselves, essentially.
This is all the stuff you
I
don't
had to
think
really
about, right?
teach them cinematography and the lighting so that they understood what's gonna look good on camera.
Sun angle's great.
Everybody thought it would be impossible for actors to really be in the jets.
But that's the gift that Tom gave us, that by the time we got up there, we could handle it.
Definitely the most amazing thing I've ever done. All the training, 100% prepared us.
I'm very proud of what we all accomplished. Each one of them are extraordinary.
It still blows my mind that we've done this. There's nothing like it.
I gotta say, wow, I'm so much more excited for watching the film now. It's weird because, like, you sort of, it's weird to think, when you think about a movie like this that presents real world situations, it's interesting. Your immediate thought is, well, it's going to be fake, right? It's a movie, it's faked. Seeing how much work they put into, at the very least, giving the actors in the cockpits an understanding of the experience of it, because look, they're not real fighter pilots, and they're not going to be. They're not in battle. They're not doing the countless hours of aerial training and theory work behind it, because it's not just jumping behind in a cockpit and yanking on a stick. It's there's infinitely more involved in being a fighter pilot than that. However, you can tell an actor how to portray it, and you can show them footage of pilots and stuff, but until you get them up there in those planes and getting involved in the experience and maybe learning how to fly, at least on a basic level, and understanding the way that, aerial sort of combat works and like even just aerial maneuvers work, like what is pitch and what is yaw and all this sort of stuff, right? I feel like it just adds that extra layer of authenticity, and, having seen that footage from a year or so ago where I saw them, green screening a lot of things, and I'm like, because originally the first trailer came out and I'm like, it looks like this is all real, it looks like they're in planes and jets doing things. And then I saw some green screen. I'm like, okay, maybe they're faking it, and, technology and filming has just gotten that good now that they can really, and they can coach the actors on how to look like they're pulling G's to a degree, and the physicality of having to sort of control your blood flow and everything so you don't black out or grey out or whatever, or red out, whatever the terminology is. All of that sort of stuff can be, it can be faked to a degree, but it looked really realistic, and I was like, maybe they're just doing a really good job. Having seen this now, I'm really excited for it. Tom mentioned that, like, he was waiting until a decent plot came along and things like that. And to be honest, no one really cares about the plot of Top Gun 1. It's not one of those movies that everybody's going, man, the character arcs were, fundamentally, grounded and well written and things like that. No, it was about a guy who's learning to not kick out at the boundaries, and it's, learning to control his wildness in order to become better, and the consequences of his actions, realizing the consequences of his actions, which is not a new story at all. So, I mean, this one, I know that Miles Teller plays Goose's son in it, and there's a lot of tension involved in that. That's as much as I know, and that's, to be fair, that's about all I care about. The rest of it is like, I want to sit in a cinema and see these amazing vistas with these jets being pushed to their absolute limits, in ways that, may or may not be realistic. I'm sure everybody who's ever flown an F-18 will be sitting there in the audience going, well, this is some bullshit. But look, for a cinema goer, and that's what I am, I'm a fan of movies, I think that this is going to hopefully exceed the subtle expectations I have for, providing a semi-realistic experience of what a modern-day fighter pilot might go to, albeit that being said, in a heightened situation. They're not going to have a situation where they go out and fly a couple of training ops and then there's a battle and that's the end of it. There's going to be a lot of more intense action than maybe I would imagine more action than like a general Navy pilot would see in their entire career, most likely. But yeah, this is going to be really good. I'm so glad I did this. I wasn't going to, but I thought, I'm testing out some new stuff with OBS, my streaming software, and I thought, why not trial it on something that's not a music thing? But yeah, who's with me? Let me know if you're in. If you're going to be there day one in the cinemas, eating some popcorn and watching some amazing flights. Yeah. Anyway, thanks again, guys. Primal Chaos. Catch you on the next one.